A fish tank that holds 80 gallons of water is 55% full. Create a drawing like Lewis's problem 5-4 to represent this situation. How many gallons are in the tank now? How many more gallons are needed to fill the tank? Let's go back to the first sentence. So we know that we have a fish tank, specifically can hold all together. That's what hold means, 80 gallons of water. But right now, it's only 55% full. Now we're being asked in example A to create a drawing. So you need to look at your notes. They're saying the class notes for problem 5-4, and they're referring to the number line that represents part and whole relationship. And then the second part, we're being asked how many gallons are in the tank now. So we're going to use that diagram to find that information. And then the second question says how many more gallons are needed to fill. So if you're going to do it all the way on the top, how many more you need. So in class, like I said, you did a problem 5-4, and I brought a picture of the number line that you had to draw on your paper. So you could pause the video right now and look at your class notes. Now, what they did with this number line that we have to create is, again, we have the 0 is the beginning. Looks like we have two parts. So we could see that using this information. So a smaller part and a larger part, but all together it made 100%. So at the end. So on the bottom, or in class, we are recording percents or percent and then their parts. Now on top, looking at the top on our problem from homework, from classwork, I'm sorry, is the grams. So in this case, the length here represents 4 grams, and that was for fiber. So we're gonna create a similar diagram, except we're gonna be holding gallons of water and percent. So we're gonna have gallons instead of grams. Okay, so let's do the drawing together. So you could use a ruler to have a neatly drawn, like basically a number line or a line right now. Okay, in the beginning, we need to say 0%, and at the end is the whole number. It's one whole tank of water, but that's in percent means 100%. Now, using the information, where do we record 80 gallons? It says it holds 80 gallons, so that means the total. So on top, I'm going to be recording gallons of water, and specifically 80 will be the whole number. So 80 for all of it full together. Now they're also giving us the number 55, but it's not 55 as a number, it says 55%. So this is what the separator is. So what I want to do is count where half of it is. So if you have the graph paper, you could count your squares and exactly mark half first. So when I have a half, then 55 will be one part little extra on the right side. So I marked over here, and I'm going to say 55 or 55%. Now we have this part, and then we have this part. So what does it mean? They're saying that 55% is full right now. So that will be containing the water, and the rest is how many more gallons are needed. So this is full with water. Let's write that down. So we're being asked right now, so we created the diagram and we use all the information needed. So let's go back to the question. It says how many gallons are in the tank. So the first part that I marked, it says full with water. That means if I find the distance over here, that's the same part as a number, then that will be in gallons. So that's what they're asking me to do. So 55 on the bottom is not gallons, so let me write that as percent. And then after that, we can say, well, how many more gallons are needed? That will be for like how many more? How many more? So looking at the whole thing, we have 80 as a number. So And then 55 is a number that is very close to the half. So what we could do is first figure out, well, how many gallons will be in the half. So if we have 80 for the whole, so the half should be 2 parts, so that will be 40. So I'm going to write this information on top. So where the half is, we have the number 40. So now I can see, and then we can say 50% exactly. That way we know that's not what we're looking for, but I know my answer in terms of gallons will be more than 40. That's more than 40 gallons. Now you can estimate. Now we can go even more precise. So we could divide into 10 equal parts to find 10%. And then from 10%, we can find that little piece which is representing 5%, right? From 50 to 55, that's 5%. So let's find 10%. So pause the video and divide into 10%, or mark at least that will be the 10%, right? So could we find how much is 10% first? And then half of the 10% will be that little piece of 5%. So how many parts do we have in 10% if we have 100%, right? So how many of those parts are? So there's exactly 10. That means with the 80 divided by 10, that gives me 8. So each 10% is 8 gallons. Do you want to write that information? Each 10% is 8 gallons. And we did that because, and then you want to write that information because we divided into 10 parts. Now I wanted to find 5%. So to find 5%, I want you to do that on your own. It's half of the 10%, right? So what is the number on top when you have this little 2 parts, right? So that should be, so I'm not gonna say it, so I need you to finish the problem on your own. So that little piece that we're looking for is exactly the same as this little piece. So you would add it to the 40 and you will find how many gallons are in the tank now. Now to answer the other part, the red one, you know that the total is 80, so you would either say how many more or you subtract. So finish this problem on your own.